Hey everybody, Jim here again. I guess it's Thursday now. I accidentally went off on a tangent for Wednesday. So this is the video I was going to say. Take a look at this guy. I mean, you know who that is, right? You guys know who that is, right? Come on. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. There he is. Let me read you a little quote from, this is an excerpt from the memoirs of Keith Richards. He says, he was talking about being in Morocco and basically smoking hash that he bought from this guy named Ahmed. And he says it was a kind of hash Ahmed had. It was called hash because it came in chunks, but it wasn't hash. Strictly speaking, hash is made from the resin, and this was loose powder like pollen, which the dried bud of the plant compressed into, the dried bud of the plant compressed into shape, which was why it was that green color. I heard that a way of collecting it was to cover children in honey and run them naked through a field of herb, and they came out the other end and they scraped them off. That was my first touch of Africa. So this is basically a guy who's, hey, he's an icon. He's done pretty much every drug imaginable in the history of drugs. Even on the cover here, he's 66 years old. You can see right there. There you go. I mean, the dude's still smoking. Obviously, I don't know. He's like practically a living, version of somebody who's already embalmed. He's had so many drugs in him, but hey, and there he is. He apparently has no health issues to speak of. And here I am, significantly younger, living, quote unquote clean dietary lifestyle. And here I am sitting down here by the microscope, worried about my blood. I mean, maybe sometimes we get a little too obsessive about our health. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that you go out and scrape honey-laden hashish off African children and then smoke it. But I think somewhere that maybe there's a middle ground. It's certainly more toward the healthy side than the standard American diet, of course. But I've just been doing a lot of thinking about it lately. And here again, I haven't really changed my diet that much. I still am pretty hardcore about health. But one of the things that I've kind of added to my diet lately is I've been drinking tea a lot, and it does have caffeine in it. And I hadn't had caffeine really probably for a couple of years. I haven't had it. I'm not advocating caffeine. I'm not going to be out there. I'm not trying to sell it to you. I don't make any money off these videos. Obviously, I'm just kind of sharing with you my experience. I'm just kind of putting it in perspective, I guess, in a dramatic, not necessarily logical way. I'm just putting it in perspective that, okay, I have a little caffeine. I think I can keep that in some kind of moderation if I want it from time to time. I don't see that big of a deal. So I have been drinking this, and here again, I haven't noticed any changes in my health. I just like the taste of tea. There you go. Like I said, I actually read online, as I blogged about the other day, I read online about some potential quote-unquote benefits of caffeine. And as I stated, there's benefits of anything you want to name, even things that are definitely bad for you. So you can't put a lot of stock in that. But at the same time, I found it interesting that I started to crave tea during a time when I also added the beans and the rice back into my diet, in moderation. And I thought, wow, if it does in fact enhance digestion, then that's kind of interesting that I came to tea at a time when I started eating something that maybe, that could use a little extra digestive power. I don't know. It's just a thought. But the actual idea I wanted to share today really has nothing to do with caffeine at all. It just has to do with the tea itself. If you go to Whole Foods, where I like to shop, I just like Whole Foods. There's something about it. I like Whole Foods. But if you go there and you buy like a bottle of tea, or even a cheap supermarket, usually it's at least $1. Sometimes it's like $1.50. That's a lot of money for like 20 ounces of tea, especially if you ever made tea yourself. And in order to make 20 ounces of tea, what do you take, like one tea bag? How much does that cost? And maybe 2 tea bags? It's like it's probably not even a quarter worth of tea. So a lot of the money goes into the processing, the labeling. the bottle itself, the distribution, the labor it takes to sell that tea, all those things. And then, of course, you got to, you're going to recycle it. And it just hit me. It's the dumbest, most obvious idea, but I just want to share it for what it's worth. Was, I went out and I bought like 10 bottles of this tea. Matter of fact, there was 10 for $10 sale. And I decided, I'm just going to make my own tea and just refill the bottles. Now, see, the thing is, it doesn't even have to be caffeinated tea that you do this with. It could be, matter of fact, this tea isn't even 100% caffeinated tea. It's I put about 40% is black tea. I made a big pot. I had 10 bottles of this. I made a really big pot of this, boiled it up, and I put in about 40% black tea, organic black tea, and about 40% of this kava tea that I found, and then some other decaffeinated herbal spice tea, which had cloves and so forth in it, and came up with this brew that I guess is kind of like a half calf type thing. And I set them all out on the counter. I put it all in the sink, and I just ladled it in one at a time, and then rinsed it off and set it out to cool for a while, and then put it in the fridge. But it really is a great way to have whatever you want in a nice serving for ridiculously cheap, just ridiculously cheap. So here I am enjoying this nice special blend that you can't buy at a store. You can't get, I can't go in and say I'd like a 40% caffeinated, 40% kava, and 40% clove tea, please. But that might be what I like. And plus, your likes change from week to week. You just try a different tea every week. So that's my little eco suggestion for the day or for the week. I guess I don't make a lot of those. I should probably make more of those. And another neat thing about it is when you pour like boiling hot tea into bottles like this, the labels just almost melt off because they're put on with glue. So you just kind of peel the label right off the bottle, and then you have yourself a nice blank bottle. You don't have to look at some commercial brand every time you drink it. And then you put it. I usually let it cool, and then I just screw the lid on and put it in the fridge, and there you go. It's just a cheap suggestion. So whether you're for caffeine, against caffeine, this is still a suggestion that anyone can use, and I think it's a pretty good one. And I'm a big proponent of tea. I like tea. I don't particularly think it's bad for you. I haven't seen any physical evidence that it's bad for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep drinking it. But here again, I am pretty hardcore about diet and what I do eat, and I would be honest with you that if I was looking at my blood or doing any other tests that we do here, and I did see a negative, an adverse reaction to what I was eating, to what I was eating, if something that were new and were affecting me that way, I'd stop. I'd say that's it. But for me, here again, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, tea gets the green light, and so I'm just sharing this tip. So anyway, I won't pontificate any longer. It's 8 minutes into this, and I just wanted to say hello and post this video. So if anybody has any thoughts about tea or wants to berate me for having caffeine, go ahead, post it in the comments. I'm always open for that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow, which should be Friday by the time I post this. Another week gone. See you guys. Bye.